Just above the great mill where the high-piled lorries are forever beginning and ending their journeys, that's where I was born. Wherever I stood, I could see the mill below me, with its smoke-blackened walls and roofs. Just across there was my home. We lived in a small stone house in the middle of a row, in the middle of streets all exactly the same. Here, my mother waged an endless war against the smoke from the mills, scrubbing, washing, and polishing. For like all West Riding women, she would stand no dirt in her home, inside or out. Aye, my mother's always been a worker. She's brought up a family of 10. 2 of the girls and 3 sons in the forces is not so bad. And even now, she still helps out in the mill sometimes, when they're short-handed. You see, before she was married, she used to work as a mender, and she's never forgotten her trade. My father's job is perching. That means holding cloth up against the light to spot any faults in it. He's worked in Mr. Armitage's mill for 35 years, and I reckon they must have handled a good 1,000,000 miles of cloth in that time. We Sykes have been a textile family all through, as you might say. My brother Harry's in the combing room, in charge of 7 machines and the girls that work them. Aye, the mill's a rackety place, but if you want a quieter corner, you'll find it in the pressing room. This is my brother Tom. All day long, he moves backwards and forwards, leaving the cloth as smooth as a billiard table. Back among the clatter of the looms, you'll find our Edna and our Annie. They say they get used to the noise and manage to talk by lip reading. In the warehouse, the cloth lies all baled up, ready to be sent out into the world. My Uncle Joshua's in charge there. When I was a lad, that was the only part of the mill I could get inside. And to get inside the mill where everything important seemed to be going on and where everyone in the West Riding seemed to work, that was my greatest ambition. In those precious moments after bringing Uncle Joshua his tea, I'd wander around looking at the names of the places to which our cloth was going. New York and all the states of North America. Cape Town and the mysterious lands of Africa. South America. Canada. Soon all this cloth will be on its way across the sea to be touched and worn by people of all nations. I would go back into the street, wondering if I should ever see any of these exciting, faraway countries. For the West Riding seemed a very grim and drab place to me then. But now I've grown up, I've learned differently. I've got a tandem. At least I have shares in the back seat. We're great cyclists in the West Riding, you know. Every weekend, wind, rain or snow, and it's generally one or t'other, we get on our bikes and leave the smoke of the towns behind. And when you're out with a club of 50 or 60 lads and girls, strung out over the moors with the wind whistling through your ears, you just can't help singing. My family, the Sykes. They'll be having their evening meal just now.
The pretty's wasted. I'm the one with strain. I mean, I'm going to try to catch it. What have you come to my station for, sir? Why, sir, just to fly me pigeons.
Yes, my father's pet hobby is flying his pigeons. On a Saturday afternoon, he'll take them anything up to 30 miles away and set them off and watch them head for home. That's how you train racing pigeons, by taking them further and further away from the place where they were reared. Dad loves to watch them drop in from the sky after a long flight. Sometimes he races them from hundreds of miles away, sends them to places where he's never been. He's won quite a few pounds at that game, but I reckon he gets most of his pleasure from just having them around and caring for them. On Saturday afternoons, you'll find our Tom and Harry out following a different sport. Football's their game. They know all the players in the home team, and they judge every move in the game with the eyes of experts. And the match doesn't end on Saturday. The inquest often continues for the rest of the week, in the mill or the street or anywhere handy. You'd think my brothers were deciding the fate of the world, the way they argue about football. They're still hard at it when I get home from cycling, but then there's always plenty of talk at our table. We all fancy ourselves as experts at one thing or the other. Uncle Joshua, he plays in the mill's brass band, and our Edna, she's a star in the town's amateur dramatic society. They're doing Jane Eyre this time.
Do you think because I'm little, obscure, poor and plain, I'm also soulless, heartless? I have as much soul as you, and more.
They've got the wrong paint. They've got the wrong paint on these pillars.
Harry, I'll be with you in a minute.
Right.
Do you mind, everybody? Please, I want quietness. Sorry. Now, Edna, do you mind, on this line, I have as much soul as you and more heart. Do you put more feeling into that? Just try through from there.
Do you think because I'm little, obscure, poor and plain, I'm also soulless, heartless? I have as much soul as you, and more heart. And if God had gifted me some beauty and much wealth, I could have made it as hard for you to leave me as it is now for me to leave you. Oh, I'm not talking to you now through the medium of conventionality or of mortal flesh. It is my spirit that addresses your spirit, just as if both had passed through a grave, and we stood at the feet of God, equal, as we are.
As we are.
Yes, we've some tidy performers in our family, and I'd say we're pretty typical of the West Riding. We'd all rather stand up and do a thing ourselves than pay to watch others. Our Annie does a bit of singing in the chapel choir, but once a year we all let ourselves go in Handel's Messiah. It's us through and through. It's music we understand.
These are the West Riding folk. They are not smooth or gracious. They have no tricks of manner, nor ways to flatter. They are not swift of fashion, nor easy to bend. But the heart within them, as their own moors, is spacious. Their heads are not bowed, and they go. It will not matter what danger opposes or threatens. They go on to the end.